Hello traders, Gary Wagner here. Just about 11:10 in Honolulu, 10 minutes after 4 in New York. It is Wednesday, November the 9th, 2016, and this is the Daily Report for Gold and Silver. And what a report we have today with utter chaos in the markets last night upon the results coming in that Donald J. Trump has been elected as the 45th president of the United States. That sent the stock market into a freefall nosedive. At the lows, Dow Jones Industrial Average Futures down about 500 points, down about 5%, I believe, only to recover substantially and actually trade to an intraday record high today and close very, very near the highs, up over 1% on the day. The opposite happened to the precious metals. Precious metals began to really rally as the news started to filter in that there was a real potential that Hillary Clinton was going to lose, up 10, then 20, then 30. And we saw the market trade to a high of 1338.30, and it traded to a low of 1268.10. Talk about a range, a tremendous range, only to close in essence unchanged, up about $2 at 1276.50. That's when we look, of course, at gold futures, COMEX futures, silver closing up about about 5-6 cents, increase of about a little over 1/4% at 1841. The low 1827 and the high 19. You didn't see the same kind of range in silver. It was gold, that safe haven that was truly reacting to the news of the outcome of the election. When we look at spot, for example, unchanged 1276, and then silver as spot in essence unchanged at 1840. Let's take a look at our first chart. So traders, absolutely no doubt, one of the most dynamic ranges we have seen in a while, well, at least since June. Looking at this daily chart, I can only point out 2 other days that even came close. And of course, we did have this one day in which the market started at 1255 in June, had a high of 1361, and then closed at 1227. So we had a day in which we saw this market really spike higher. But take a look at today's activity. As I said, closing in essence on unchanged, with a intraday high up near 1340 right here, an intraday low, which is sitting at around 68, and a close at 76. That's this small little hash mark right here. And really, to do it justice, we need to blow this chart up, of course. And here you can really see the dynamics of the range. But to really see how the market unfolded, let's convert this to an intraday chart so we can take a look at either the half-hour activity or 15-minute activity. So traders, what I've done is converted that chart into a half-hour candlestick chart. Each candle represents a half an hour in trading. You can see I've got a blue box here, which represents the beginning of the 8th day, yesterday, 8th day of November, election day, as well as the beginning of today, the 9th day here. And this, of course, this activity, as we take a look at it, was extremely quiet as the vote was taking place. And then as the results began to be tabulated, and this, of course, occurred late at night, we saw it first kind of get out of the range. Took it about an hour to kind of get to the range, being at about, 1285 right in that area. Next half hour, you see the market go from 1285 and run past 13. Very shaky on that next half hour. Then you have the market run from about 1308, and realize that our resistance point has always been right here at 1308. We close extremely below that, but you can see that over the next couple of hours, the market as a whole would spike and then consolidate. Here it sold off, spike, and then started to sell off and sold off until it got to about 1300. Tried to form a base at 1300. At this point, I am asleep. There's no way I can run on a 24-hour day, of course. And then by the time we looked at this market as we awoke, we had already seen it not only give up this intense amount of really a value that got added, that safe haven value, that fear factor, only to see it closed in essence unchanged. Now, I sent out emails yesterday. I did not issue a buy signal because honestly, when I saw the market in the way it was trading, I can tell you I wanted to let the dust settle, which is precisely what I said in my commentary on yesterday's daily report. But I was amazed at what we saw happening. Now, where do we go from here and what's the market look like? Well, that's going to be something that we'll need the next week to 2 weeks to discuss and absolutely see how this presidential election unfolds. So traders, if you thought it was crazy in the international gold pits yesterday, take a look at the dollar index. Dollar index closed up about 0.75%, but like the U.S. equities markets was under tremendous pressure. This chart that we're looking at is spot dollar index. You can see the market here as the results come in. Just absolute devastation in the dollar, taking it below 96. It had been above 98. It then turns around over the next couple of hours through the night to actually exceed the starting point and close in really solid territory. As I said, up 0.75%. And of course, that weighed heavily on precious metals, specifically gold prices, keeping a lot of those gains, taking them away, because a lot of those gains were given by the fact that the dollar was trading under such tremendous pressure. And then traders, last, I do want you to take a look at what happened in U.S. equities. Now, this is a Standard & Poor's 500, and that will not reflect what we saw during the day. You can see the last 3 trading days, we have seen this market rally substantially. You don't see any lows in the market because the S&P 500 has defined trading hours, open when U.S. equities trade in the U.S. They're not futures-based. But take a look at this. When we look at the S&P Mini, which is the chart that I've just pulled up, you're going to see a pretty dramatic difference on the day, because take a look at this low here. This is the activity that came in once Donald Trump was elected or announced that he was going to be elected president. To give you an idea of how this market really gyrated, just like we saw with the dollar, you had this knee-jerk reaction that was tremendous, moving the market down to 2030 after trading at 2150. So a tremendous swing down, and then a rally like we haven't seen before, considering the low of the day at 2030 and the high at 2160, which, by the way, as we talked about the Dow being at a new record level, when we convert this back to a daily, we'll see that we are not at a new record level, but we are back at these tops that really have given us the last really highs that we have seen for this last half of the year. Traders, there's no way to put all of this new news into a context that will really let us understand the potential repercussions from here over the next 4 years. But over the next couple of weeks, that's exactly what myself, along with other analysts, will attempt to do. This is certainly a game changer. This is certainly a day that we will remember. This has been Gary Wagner wishing you, as always, good trading. We will talk to you tomorrow for another daily update and review. Bye-bye.